It was quite an ordinary day when Will discovered he would be going to 2 schools. He got up as usual and got onto his wheelchair and went through to the drive-in shower, which Will and his big brother Philip called Niagara Falls. Then his mum helped him get ready for school. At breakfast, Will was full of a new story he was writing. It's all about a boy who's really a spy, but he doesn't know. He has his memory wiped every 6 months when he goes to the dentist. Because the dentist is really working for a secret organisation that wants to bring the West to its knees. And he's put a secret chip in the boy's teeth so he can track him wherever he goes. But the dentist's receptionist is on the boy's side, and she's sending secret messages to him, disguised as appointment cards. So Mum came over and lightly tapped Will's head with a napkin. She pointed to the bowl of cornucopia in front of him. "Can you give that imagination of yours a rest for 5 minutes and eat your cereal? You're going to be late." "I can't be late," Will reminded her. "The bus comes right to our door. They can be late. I can't." "All right, clever clogs, just eat up." Will started to spoon corn into his mouth, but he went on talking. "They're going to publish my other story soon." "It's the school magazine, Will." Philip slurped his tea. "It's not a 3-book deal." "It's a start. I'm going to be a world-famous writer one day." "Miss Pancani was really pleased with your writing," said Mum. "So was Mrs. Howarth. She said—" She stopped. "No, I mustn't say any more. Not yet." Will frowned. "She said what?" Mum looked at the clock. "Come on, Will, they'll be here in 10 minutes. Will went on eating, but he went on thinking as well. What had his teacher and his head teacher said to Mum? 10 minutes later the bus arrived, and Femi, the driver, helped Will onto its rear lift. He loaded Will onto the bus and clamped his chair in. Will was last to be collected, and so was at the back of the bus. He knew the backs of everyone's heads extremely well. Everyone was here in their wheelchairs. Zane in his leather jacket, and Madeline, and Tom, and Aurora. She was talking about herself, as usual. "We're going to Portugal this year, but I told Mum I want to get on the plane properly through one of those tube things. I don't want any more fireman's lifts slung over someone's shoulder. The last person who did it wasn't even a proper fireman." Will grinned. Femi always found a way to liven up the journey. When the bus stopped at the traffic lights, he called out, "Everyone ready for my deliberate mistake, okay?" Everyone looked towards the cab. Then Femi took both hands off the steering wheel, put them behind his head, and pretended to go on driving like that. Everyone laughed and hooted. Femi's deliberate mistakes were seldom difficult to spot. 15 minutes brought them to Marlow Park School. Femi and the passenger assistant took the clamps off the wheelchairs. Some of the older children could do it for themselves. Then everyone was loaded onto the lift and taken off the bus, one at a time. Will went with Aurora and Madeline and Zane and Tom, and they pushed their wheelchairs through reception, across the hall, and towards the junior classrooms. All the students at Marlow Park had special needs, and none of the classes had more than 10 people. It meant they all got to know each other very well. Madeline smiled at Will, and he gave a quick smile back. He and Madeline had been a thing since infants. Her blonde hair was tied back from her rather sallow face, and she had a cheeky grin, made cheekier by a slight gap between her front teeth. When they were 5, Madeline had asked Will to marry her, and Will had the feeling she meant to hold him to it. Drew was here, and Malik, and Hayden. They could walk, so came to school by taxi. Bembe, the teaching assistant, came over to chat to the kids. They were well into a discussion of last night's football when Miss Pancani arrived to start the collective act of worship. Then they moved on to an English lesson. Passing by Will's table, Miss Pancarnia stopped. "Will, Mrs. Howarth would like to see you in her office at break time." Will's heart sank. Madeline looked worried. Aurora and Zane grinned. All of them were thinking the same thing. What had Will been up to? "It's nothing to worry about." Miss Pancarnia was wearing a small smile. "In fact, it could be some very good news." Will worried nonetheless. He had always felt that this school didn't quite understand him. Ever since he had set fire to the Christmas crib in year 1, he had only been trying to rescue the baby Jesus from a faulty fairy light. He was doing well at school and having his story in the magazine. Why did the head teacher want to see him? It was over an hour before he got the chance to find out. Madeline gave him a hopeful smile. Then Will pushed out of the classroom, back across the hall, and up the steep ramp to the top corridor. Will knocked on Mrs. Howarth's door. There was a big green button on the wall outside her office, which anyone could have pressed, and which rang the school bell. Will could hear it calling to him every time he came up here. Just one little push. He sneaked out a hand towards it. "Come in, Will!" The door flew open. Will pulled his hand back. He smiled sweetly at the head. Hopefully she hadn't seen him. He pushed into the office. She had a bright, airy room with a wide desk and a laptop he would have liked himself. "Now then." Mrs. Howarth sat behind the desk. To Will's relief, she was smiling. "Don't look so worried. I just wanted to have a word with you about your schoolwork, and especially your English work." She picked up a proof copy of the school magazine and flicked through it. Will could see his story. It looked very important in print. He was doing well at school, so why was he here? "Miss Pancarnia and I both think your work is really good," said Mrs. Howarth. "We want to encourage everyone here, Will, to make the best they possibly can of themselves, and you've certainly succeeded." Will tried to look modest. "So much so that we wonder if Marlow Park is giving you all you need." "Will, have you heard of Station Road Primary School?" "Oh, yes, miss. It's only just up the road from us. Nearer than here. My brother went there." "Yes, of course. Well, you've been at Marlow Park ever since nursery, haven't you? And I've been talking to Miss Pancarnia, and Mrs. Rayburn, the head of Station Road, and your mum, and we were wondering if you'd like to do some lessons at a mainstream school." "You're going where?" At break time, Aurora was looking put out. So were the other kids in wheelchairs as they surrounded Will in the playground. Madeline was by Will's side and still looking worried. "They want me to go to Station Road Primary School," Will repeated. "Just Wednesday and Thursday afternoons. They want me to do some lessons with ordinary kids. I mean kids not in wheelchairs and things." Madeline looked at her footrests. "So you won't be here for 2 afternoons a week?" "They just want to try it out," said Will. "Push me a bit further. Like this." Drew grabbed the handles of Will's chair and zoomed off with him all around the playground. The other kids laughed. Hey, stop it!" Will did his best to steer back. Drew let go, laughing. "So what about the rest of us?" asked Aurora. "Don't we get a chance?" "Mrs. Howarth says if it works, the 2 schools might get together more. They're using me as a guinea pig." "You look more like a hamster," said Zane. Will pulled a face at him. "I'm going this Wednesday and Thursday after lunch." "That's so weird," said Aurora. "You're going to be part of 2 schools at once,"